All right, good afternoon, everybody. Obviously, I'm not the governor. I'm Dave, nor my baby dog. I'm Dave Hardy. I'm the Secretary of Revenue for the governor, and it's wonderful to be here today. I cannot tell you how happy I am to be in Hardy County. Now, my grandfather came from Danville, Virginia, so I can't claim any ownership up here, but it is wonderful to be here. This is one beautiful place, guys. You forget, you know, how beautiful it is up here until you come up here again on an October day. So let me tell you a little bit about my background. I was a Kanawha County Commissioner for 16 years, member of Charleston City Council for 6. So I understand local government, and I am very happy to be in this commission courtroom. I'm very comfortable in a commission courtroom. It makes me happy to be here. And the governor asked me to leave the commission in 2017 when he became governor to be the Secretary of Revenue. My job's pretty easy. My job is to keep track of the state's finances. That's all I do, which is a big enough job in itself. And when we got there, the first day we were there, Martin Luther King Day, 2017. We're all there, we're all happy, the governor got inaugurated, and they hand us our first financial report. And the first report we got for fiscal year 17, which was halfway over at that time, the state of West Virginia was in the red, $217 million. Red ink with brackets around it, and I knew what that meant. Then the state budget director, Mike McCowan, who's since retired, said, well, Dave, buddy, because we went to college together, so he always called me buddy. Dave, buddy, let me show you this one. So he showed me the next one, and it was fiscal year 2018, which was going to start about 5.5 months, and we were projected to be $497 more million in the red. So the first day on the job, as we showed up, our first financial report, 497 plus 217, over $700 million projected in a deficit position.
I think I would have quit.
I kept saying, I went home and told my wife I should not have taken that job. So now I'm going to tell you about this year, June 30th of 22, the greatest day in the fiscal history of the state of West Virginia. We closed our books, fiscal year 22, we were $1 billion, with a B, $1,308 million in the black. So West Virginia had that surplus on June 30th of 2022. And the governor's not here yet, but I think he deserves a round of applause for that. The governor said to us, the revenue team, it's time to start cutting taxes. Right now, let's do it. So we did our research, and here's what we found. It's very relevant, particularly up here in this part of the state. What we found was there are 9 states that don't have state income tax. 41 do. Those states are states that you travel to and you're generally familiar with. Texas, Tennessee, Florida, Nevada, Wyoming, South Dakota. Most of us haven't been to South Dakota unless we went for Mount Rushmore. But those states in the last 10 years have doubled the population growth compared to the other 41 states. The economies in those 9 states have grown 56% faster than the economies in the other 41 states. Then we started looking at teleworkers. And this is sort of common sense. Sometimes you have to have a study that shows you what your common sense sort of tells you already. Teleworkers want to go where, folks? They want to go places where taxes are low and the quality of life is good. Well, we've got the quality of life. You can't get better quality of life than what we look out the windows and see here. But the governor said, I want to eliminate the state income tax. Now that's a big swing. That's swinging for the fences, no question about it. And he said, I'm going to call a special session legislature this year, July, second week of July, and I'm going to cut the state income tax by 10% right now, this year, 2022. That's a big cut. That's $271 million that would have come back to your pocket immediately this year. The House of Delegates passed that plan in one day. gave the governor compliments that it was a great plan. They supported him. The West Virginia State Senate would not even vote on that plan. The plan to put $271 million back in your pocket immediately. Why did the West Virginia State Senate not want to vote on that plan? Because of Amendment 2. Now let me tell you about Amendment 2. I like history. In November of 1932, next month it'll be 90 years ago, the people of West Virginia voted, because remember, all changes to that Constitution have to be voted on by the people, voted that the property tax revenue that we pay, the real estate tax, your personal property tax, would remain with local government. Does not get spent by the state of West Virginia. It remains with local government. That's in the West Virginia Constitution and has been for 90 years. That's the money that pays for this courthouse, pays for many of the things the cities do, and helps fund our schools and our school boards. Those dollars are guaranteed in the Constitution right now. The West Virginia legislature cannot change that. But Amendment 2 is an idea. We'll vote on it on November 8th. As a matter of fact, we'll start voting next week, October 26th. Amendment 2 is an amendment to our state constitution that says that the legislature will have control over what happens to the property taxes. No longer be in the Constitution, it'll be in the legislature's hands. Yes, sir.
Where did Amendment 2 come from? If the House voted for the other bill, where did Amendment 2, how did it get
put on the ballot?
back?
It was put on the ballot by the West Virginia legislature.
So the Senate has the authority just to go ahead and do that without the House consent?
No, gotta have the House.
Okay.
Gotta have the House. So Amendment 2 says, in the future, starting in fiscal year 24, $500 million worth of property tax revenue, that's the whole state, 500 million, will be in control of the West Virginia legislature. And then the West Virginia legislature will budget those dollars back to local governments. Now, sounds great. We've got a big surplus right now, right? We got a surplus now. They could probably do it next year. Might do it. But think about what you're handing the legislature. Forevermore. Every legislature for the next 100 years, every governor for the next 100 years, is going to have to make a decision through the state budget how much revenue is going to be budgeted back to the counties and the school boards and the cities. That will no longer be a constitutional guarantee. Now, let me tell you about the state budget. I live, breathe, and eat the state budget. The state budget is very complicated and it has a lot of demands on it. PEIA, Medicaid, the 7,000 prisoners, inmates that we have in the jails and the correction system, lawsuits, national disasters. I could go on and on. There's always pressure on the state budget. Don't forget state employee pay raises. You're going to get in line, you being local government, you're going to get in line with everybody else now if Amendment 2 passes. It will put you in line in the state budget just like everybody else. So it may be true the legislators are saying, oh, today we'll do it for you. But what's going to happen a year from now if the stock market crashes and the state pension plans are in need of more money? And so on and so forth. So I will let you decide. The governor will tell you in a minute his feelings on Amendment 2, but I think you probably figured them out by this sign. Babydog will tell you her opinion. It's paws down on Amendment 2. And I'll tell you, as the Secretary of Revenue, this is a train wreck for the state budget. It puts a gigantic new obligation on the state budget that right now we're very happy the counties get to keep their property tax revenue. That's your money, you budget it. And I've said this many times when I was a county commissioner. When someone calls 911 or calls for a volunteer fireman or calls for the sheriff's department, they don't care if you're from Charleston. You're not from Charleston, you're from here. That call is going to go in here. They don't care if it's a Republican or a Democrat that shows up. Nobody asks the police officer if he's a Republican or a Democrat when he shows up or she shows up. This is local government at its best. What happens in this courthouse affects everybody. When I call an ambulance for my 90-year-old mother in Kanawha County tells me they can have that ambulance at our house in less than 6 minutes. That's their goal. That's what local government does. Now, if you want to go to Charleston every year and put your hat out, trick or treat, here's my bag, and get your revenue back from Charleston, vote for Amendment 2. If you want to keep your local revenue where it came from, vote against Amendment 2. Now, there's been discussion about the property tax on vehicles. Part of Amendment 2, 1/3 of it, was a plan to remove the property tax on vehicles. Well, everybody'd be for that, right? Never met anybody that likes taxes. That's $127 million out of the $500 million that is affected by Amendment 2. That's $127 million. The governor has come up with a plan that is going to rebate everybody's car tax to them without amending the Constitution. So we are going to eliminate the car tax in West Virginia. If the legislature will pass the bill is written, it'll be introduced the first day of the session, and West Virginians will be able to get a dollar for dollar, 100% rebate back on their car tax that they pay. And it'll be done. People ask me how it's going to be done. I'll tell you. Okay? 87% of West Virginians pay their income taxes electronically. That number's higher than I thought it would be, but it's 87%. You'll go to the West Virginia State Tax Portal. You'll click My Taxes. There'll be a line called Car Tax Rebate, and you'll go in and you'll enter about 2 or 3 fields, and you'll copy your receipt, and you'll send it in electronically, and it'll either come back to you electronically from the State Tax Department or in the form of a check. Those that want to do it by paper, that will be me maybe. Those who want to do it by paper, the form will be about 1 page, about half a page, where you just fill it out, attach your receipt, and it'll come back to you. That way you can get the car tax eliminated without changing the Constitution. We like the Constitution. We being the government, we being the Department of Revenue, we like the fact that your revenue stream is guaranteed. Nobody can take it. Nobody. The only people that can take it is a vote of the people. The West Virginia legislature cannot take your property tax without a vote. So that's what I have to say. And is the governor close by, Jordan? Okay.
Yes, he is.
Can I
He
ask
should
you a
be in
question
the
on the
elevator.
revenue?
Hold on 1 second. Hold on
Okay.
1 second. When the governor shows up, that's my cue to leave the podium.
Okay. It's only a 2-second question.
Okay, Jimmy.
How you gonna get the legislature to pass the governor's plan if they wouldn't even vote on the other plan?
I will be very surprised if our legislature will not pass a plan to put $127 million back in your pocket.
I would not.
I believe they will.
I hope so.
If they don't, they'll answer for that vote, right? All right, is the governor, can't see if he's here yet or not. Hold on. The Babydog's got a new chair, okay? That's a new chair. All right, ladies and gentlemen, 36th Governor of the state of West Virginia, the Honorable Jim Justice.
Come on, baby. Oh. You gotta get in your thing here. Okay. Okay. Now we're good. How are all y'all doing? I'm great. I'm gonna give Babydog a drink though, okay? Before we go any further. So y'all, don't y'all laugh at Jim. All right, now that's enough. No, I got it here. Hold just a second. I do that for myself. I'll do that for myself.
Just don't get them mixed up.
And I'll probably get them mixed up. But I just do. Here goes. Here back. Okay. Mine's on the left. Maybe yours is on the right. Well, first of all, thanks for coming. It means a lot that you care enough about what's going on in the state government, which is 50 million miles away from here, and what's going on in your community. Now, let me tell you just this. I'm not here today to have a food fight with anybody, you know, whether they be in the legislature or you guys or anybody. I'm here to tell you what I think is about to happen, that if it does happen, it can cause you a lot of grief. Now, but let me say one other thing. When we're done, if you want to come up and say hi to Babydog, we'll stay right here as long as you want us to stay. So we'll get that off the table right now. Okay. The other thing before I go any further is the First Lady, my wife, Kathy, came up with a marvelous idea about the therapy dog stuff and everything. And I understand that they came to Moorefield not long ago, elementary, middle school, if that's correct. Said it was an incredible school. Black lab, I think its name is Shad. And they said that, you know, we've gotten a bunch of compliments, or, you know, from people that said Shad is doing really great work with kids that today need all of our attention in every way. And so, great stuff, great stuff. No pat on the back for me, no pat on the back for Kathy. Great stuff, because every one of us needs to step up and try to do stuff for kids if we can. So, now, while I'm on dogs, let me tell you just this. Today, we did a ribbon cutting for a Clorox plant that's going into Martinsburg, and they're going to make Fresh Help, I think is
Fresh Step.
Fresh Step. It's kitty litter, basically. It's cat litter. And many of the people got up to speak, says, you know, I've got several cats and all this. Well, Babydog and I don't have cats. But I said to them, I said, you know, Babydog loves cats. And she really loves the fact that now with your new product and everything, that the cats will smell better. And so, but nevertheless, let me just tell you just this, and then I'll be quiet about animals for a second. But, you know, we all love our pets and our companions as humans. You know, we really do. You know, I've had a gazillion dogs, still do have. You know, I've bird hunted my whole life. I've been broke up a lot and everything, and I can't go anything like I used to go at all. But so many incredible companions that I've had throughout my life. It's really, really, really been meaningful to me. But the thing about this little thing is my children, Jay and Jill, Kathy and I had 2 Boston Terriers at the time that are in the bed with us every night. And all of a sudden it's Christmas, and our little grandson, who at the time is 2, he's running around everywhere. He just turned 2, and you know, on December the 7th, and he's just running everywhere. It's Christmas Eve, and the whole family's there and everything. And about that time, out of nowhere, Jay reaches right over my shoulder with Jill standing right beside him, this bulldog puppy, and he said, "Look what we've got, y'all." And she was beautiful, but the first thing that thought went through my mind was, this thing is going to grow. And where a Boston Terrier is like this thing is going to grow into a 60-pound brown watermelon, you know, and she did, you know. And so with all that though comes, and we're just at that time in the beginning infancy of the COVID stuff. And then well, maybe even prior to, it was really prior to. And then all of a sudden COVID hits, and it's touched everybody in this room, guaranteed. I hope and pray it's not touched people in this room that we've lost loved ones. But there's a chance that it has, you know, and it's been really, really tough. You know, when you're the governor that you've honored me with beyond belief, and you read 7,470 or whatever names of folks, and you know all those people and their families and their loved ones are hurting. You know, from time to time, I'd take this little bulldog with me, you know, and every time I looked at her, you know, she made me smile. And then every time I saw you with her, she made you smile. And then the thing that is totally remarkable, because not necessarily always characteristics with bulldogs, but she loved everybody instantly. Now listen to me, and I mean this. And I'm a Christian, and I'm proud of it, you know. And I don't mind telling anybody in the world just that. But I really believe the definition of coincidence is an everyday occurrence in which God chooses to remain anonymous. How could it be that at a time when we needed it bad, this little thing was making people smile and loving everybody? And then it just hit me like a ton of bricks, like, you know, I'm dumber than a stump. You know, it just hit me and said, well, what message could be better? At the end of the day, really, just think about it. If we could go throughout life and make others smile, and we could love everybody, it didn't matter if you were black or white or rich or poor or old or young or whatever, it didn't matter. Sure, to God, it didn't matter if it's Democrat or Republican. You know, if we could love everybody, wouldn't we be a better people, a better world? You know, so now I got the bulldog with me. You know, now, let me just tell you this, and I've said it over and over. It does not matter to me if you're Republican or Democrat or Independent, it never has. We got enough people throwing rocks at us on the outside that we don't need to throw rocks at each other. No, we don't. Now, I am really, really rock solid conservative in my values and beliefs, and that's where I'm going to stand, period. End of story with me. But I'm really not in the business of just trying to purposely outdo the other side. You know, I'm in the business of trying to just do good stuff all across the board. Now, with that being said, here's what you got. You got an idea that came up, you know, with the House and the Senate, and basically the idea was, let's do a resolution. The resolution that basically is going to say, we're going to be able to put on the ballot a way to change the Constitution to where if you'll vote for it, we'll change the Constitution and then we can change the tax laws. That's what we're going to put on the ballot. It seemed benign as benign could be, okay? Well, you couldn't possibly have known what was coming because I didn't know, and I was right there with it. So then along, we just kind of percolate along and all that kind of stuff, and then comes last July, and our revenue department and all of our folks come to me and we say, well, look, we got people that are facing $5 gasoline, grocery bills, and everything under the sun. We got to do something. My God, we got surpluses beyond belief, and I very proudly can tell you this: I'm a business guy, and when I walked in the door, you can say what you want, but this state was dead level bankrupt, period. Now you're in an area of the world that you've got a game plan that you're running and running well. And we in Charleston land or Southern West Virginia need to probably come and learn your game plan and try to run the same kind of game plan. But that's not the case in many, many spots. So you have this benign thing, it's a resolution that didn't ever come to me. You see, I didn't sign off on anything. A resolution doesn't come to me. Okay. So then what happens is just this. In July, I said we just finished the year ended June 30th. And we finished the year, and so we've got $1,308,000,000 or whatever million of surplus. And we got $5 gasoline, and we got grocery prices through the roof, and inflation going completely crazy. And I said, my God, we got to give something back. So let's, without causing a ripple, let's do a 10% tax, 10% cut on personal income tax. That won't cause a giant wave as far as against the ARPA, the American Rescue Act, or whatever it's called, requirements, or that won't cause a big wave between whatever, Republicans, Democrats, or whatever. Surely to goodness, we as Republicans should always be for a tax cut. Surely we can get a tax cut done tomorrow. So I called special session and to get everybody there. And the House in one day passed it. And I knew the Senate would do it too. And then it just stopped. Well, I was shocked. And I couldn't understand what in the crap was going on. I mean, I couldn't figure out what in the world was going on. And so I kept calling them and trying to meet with them and everything else, and literally there was no budge. There was no nothing. Well, the reason there's no nothing is just this, is that was giving you back $254 million, and really and truly, they needed that money for their plan. They needed all the money. So then what happened was, then I find out that they've been traveling around for really a year and a half. And they've been coming to county commission meetings and Board of Education meetings and whatever for a year and a half. And basically then what they had done is, and I'd heard this before, but I didn't pay enough attention to it, they basically, and I hope I'm not stepping on any toes, but they hoodwinked you. They absolutely got you to buy into something because they put with it, we'll get rid of your car tax. That was the hook, to buy your vote. I guarantee that to you. Now you can believe me or not believe me, and really I don't really care, but that's exactly what happened to you. The car tax didn't mean anything really to them. What meant everything to them is the machinery and inventory tax. And basically, they couch it, well, that's going to bring more industry or more stuff to West Virginia. Well, now look, think about it. Whether it be Berkshire Hathaway, or Nucor, or Pure Watercraft, or green power, all these different things that are coming. My God, they're coming from everywhere. They come to me. I have never heard anybody, nobody, say to me, Governor, we'll come to West Virginia if you don't have a machinery and inventory tax. Nobody. Zero. Zero. So why in the world are we doing such a thing? Well, I can tell you exactly why. And again, I hope I'm not stepping on any toes, but I'll tell you exactly why. In D.C., we'll make it easy. In D.C., there's they call it the Washington Swamp. And what that is just exactly just this. And that is where legislatures are there. And basically then what happens is all these lobbyists that have all this money and all that perks and all the stuff that can go with it, they come to the legislatures and try to persuade them for their vote. Now, the lobbyists aren't the ones that are doing it. It's the people behind the lobbyists that are giving the lobbyists the money to go to the legislatures. The people behind them are big interest groups, you know, whether it be the Sierra Club or big business or whatever it may be. So they give the lobbyists the money. The lobbyists go get the votes, and then the people that are, the legislatures are wedded to the big, giant, special interests that are happening. Now that's a definition of the swamp. And why are the legislatures wedded? Because of promises. Because of money and promises and saying, we'll back you in your next campaign, or we'll do this for your campaign fund, or whatever it may be. And you can say what you want, but that is exactly what is going on right now in West Virginia. Exactly that. And it is nothing but that. And really and truly, it's driven primarily by two in the Senate, but we're not going to get into all the rock throwing. But now, so, here's what you got. Bob Pruitt, who coached at Marshall forever, he said, this is the simplest way to explain it. A bunch of politicians are standing here. Now, I would venture to say to you that Charleston's a long ways away from here, isn't it? And in many situations with what you've got going on here, Charleston doesn't have a clue about it. I mean, and I will promise you this, to God above, you are an afterthought to Charleston in a lot of situations. Now you are. Now, so, but anyway, let's just say, not an afterthought, they're a long ways away. Okay? So here's what's happening. Okay? Now, if you think about Coach Pruitt would say to you, a bunch of politicians are standing here. This is what they're promising you. The politicians are saying to you, all right, everybody, take your wallets out and give me all your money. Give me all your money. And then not only that, any money you have come in, we want you to give us that too. And we as politicians are going to promise we're going to give it back. Now you think how silly you would be to buy into that. First of all, politicians come and go, and they could very well not even be elected. But on top of that, there's no way on God's earth that you should buy into that. And then what they say is, we're going to change the Constitution. You're going to lose all local control. Now that's what's getting ready to happen to you. You're going to lose all local control. And then, every year, to fund all the services that you've got going on in your county, the only way you're going to be able to do it is go down to Charleston and beg that they will give you the money back that they promised. They'll give it back to you to where you can fund the police and the firemen and the schools and whatever it may be. You don't have to do that now, because you have a guaranteed income stream that's coming right into the county, and in the county you run yourself. Honestly, listen to me. I never have taken 1 cent for being your governor. I drive myself, I don't take a salary. I absolutely, now the only thing I really do is I drive the policemen crazy because I'm driving myself and I lose them from time to time and then they go nuts. I mean, they lost me coming over here, to tell you the truth. But literally, they go panic crazy at that point in time. While I'm on that, forgive me, but I really do need to tell you this. My first day after we went through the inauguration stuff, I was coaching a ball game, a girls' basketball game at Princeton, which was a away game for the school that I coach at and everything. And so we went there, went in, there were 6 state policemen there. And I thought, boy, they're really trying to really take care of me. And I thought, please, Lord, don't let us lose the first game that I coached, being in this. So we did win the game. Pretty close game. I walked outside, this young trooper and everything, bless his heart, just a typical cruiser that, he had there. And he said, he salutes and everything. He says, Governor, he said, I'll be right in your taillights all the way to your driveway. And I said, good enough. And I thought, boy, this is going to be a different deal and everything. And I was worn out because we've been through all the inauguration stuff and everything. And so I had a fellow with me that's just a good friend, helps me with the basketball and stuff. And his name's Mo Ball. And I said, Mo, you drive. And Kathy sat behind Mo, and I was in the passenger seat. And we're going down the interstate, down the turnpike. And we get to the first toll booth. And when we get there, the trooper goes zoom, right around us and everything, zoom, right through the toll booth. And I said, follow him, Mo, and shoot right through the toll booth. Okay. Well, I got an $83 bill for that. Because I didn't have one of those little course responder deals or whatever they're on. So, and then, all of a sudden we get going faster and faster and faster. And I mean, we're booking it down the road. Well, then it dawns on me that Mo's vehicle, this is on 77 and 64 cuts this way, and Mo's vehicle is like 2 more exits up on 77. We're going to go this way, And so I said, what are we going to do here and everything? How are we going to get word to them? And then Kathy says, Drew, where are you? He's right back there. Here's the captain of my detail, Drew Pittman. And so Kathy says, call Drew and ask Drew to call the trooper and tell the trooper you got to go straight and don't turn off towards 64. Stay on 77 to the Harper Road exit. So Drew says, got it. And so 1 minute later, he calls me back and he says, Governor, the trooper that is in front of you is not with you. He's transporting a prisoner to jail. And forgive me for that. And the trooper that is behind you says he can't keep up with you. First day, right? Now I've lost my thought. Okay. Now think about this. This was a great plan, and I think cloaked under the stages of darkness. But this plan was built this way. Tell you what, let's do. The manufacturers or big business or whomever it may be, they would love to have rid of the machinery and inventory tax because it would be millions and millions and millions of dollars to them. And they're saying they'll support us for governor or whatever it may be, and they'll give us monies to our campaign donations or whatever it may be. And so how can we get that done? Well, we can hook with this the car tax. And then we can get you to vote for it, and then we can change the Constitution. And you won't even know what's fixing to happen. You'll lose all control. Your income stream will be gone, dried up, completely dried up. And because it'll be gone. I mean, it'll be gone. What I'm saying is the machinery and inventory tax that people were paying, they won't pay anymore. The car tax, you won't pay anymore. Everything will be gone. Okay? And so then what will happen? You'll depend on Charleston. From a standpoint of Jim Justice, let's be super fair. I mean, I walk in the door, I promise you the state bankrupt, and today the state's cooking like crazy and everything's going pretty daggum good. The roads are getting fixed and lots of things happen. I can just ride the wave to the end because I'll be done. I'll be done in very short order. I'll promise you I can come with the First Lady and do this and that, and you'll say, boy, that's been a great governor. And I'll ride the wave to the end. Now, and at that point in time, what'll happen, sure as I know my name, is we'll have some bump in the road. And when you have any level of bump in the road, but it won't happen probably till I'll be gone. But when you have a bump in the road, then you'll be dead. And you'll be in real trouble. And literally, from the standpoint of being here with you, I got plenty to do. But there's nothing that I think that I could do that's more important than this. Because I mean it when I tell you I love you. And I mean it when I tell you I don't want anything. You see, I don't want anything. Nothing. I signed onto this for the right reason. The right reason is to serve, to do what I'm supposed to do for y'all. Now, the next thing I'd tell you is just this. Who do you think that's in this room would benefit from the machinery and inventory tax more than anybody in this room, probably many times? You. Me. Me. And I'm the one sitting here telling you don't do it. Because you see, I didn't sign up for stuff for me. I didn't. Now you can think anything you want, but my dad would have said over and over, if I know and God above knows, that's all that matters. And I know, and God above knows what I'm telling you is a gospel fact. Now you may think, well, he's got so much money, it doesn't even matter. Well, I'm going to promise you this too. I was the only one of the coal companies just about that didn't take bankruptcy when coal went shoosh. And it's been tough, really tough. A lot tougher than you maybe would know. This would mean a lot to me, an awful lot, but it's wrong. Now the other thing is this. Who do you think is going to benefit? Overwhelmingly, the majority of the money is probably going to go to Walmart or a big giant coal company, or Dow Chemical, And my point of the whole thing is just this. What about you? What about you? You're the ones that pulled the rope and got us to where we are. What about the working, everyday people? Now, so I had to find a way to get rid of the car tax. And it took me a while to figure it out, but I got that now. Now, one thing that you can rest assured, and you can go from here and know beyond any doubt, no matter what anybody said, the car tax is gone. You'll get your money back for the car tax that you paid in September. That was the car tax year that started in last January. You'll get every single dollar, every single cent of your money back. As soon as the general session starts, because the bill's written, it's online, you can probably pick it up online. Can they get it online? You can read the bill, my bill, that's going to get rid of your car tax, period. And they will not have any choice under the sun but to vote for my bill. Now, there's only two things that can happen with your car tax. One is you can pass Amendment 2 and they'll probably get rid of your car tax. Maybe. It may take a long time because the Senate and House will fight forever. Or two, this thing blows up and then there is no legislature down there. None. Zero. If this thing blows up and I put a bill right in front of them to get rid of your car tax that's going to vote against it, they're not suicidal. You'll kill them if they do that. I mean, that's all there is to it. There's no way. The car tax is gone. You got to some way tell your in-laws and outlaws that the car tax is gone. No matter what anybody says, it's gone. Now, I really pride myself in this. Without any question, I'll make mistakes, but I'll not ever tell you something that's not the truth. And I'll challenge you any way in the world to find something that I've told you that's not the truth. The politicians can't do that, but I can, because absolutely, without any question, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do that. There's no way. The car tax is gone. But now, so car tax is gone. What are you voting on in Amendment 2? You're voting to take all control away from local and give it to Charleston. You're voting on the fact and hope that never again will we have a bump in the road. Because if you have a bump in the road, the only thing they'll be able to do is come to you and say, you're going to have to cut. Can you get by with 80% of the police force? Can you get by with 80% of the firemen? Or can you really cut some stuff out of the schools? That's what they're going to do. They don't have any choice but to do that. They have to have a balanced budget for that's an amendment that they have to have a balanced, budget in the state. The only thing they can do if we get upside down is come to you and say, well, or just tell you, look, we thought we could give you 100% of your money, but we really can't give you but 70%. Or inflation, the 100%, you really now need 120%. But we really can't give you but 90%. And you're really in trouble. And then on top of all that, the very thing that just drives me crazy about this whole thing, if that isn't enough, is who's getting the benefit of what they're about to do? Forget the local control and Charleston control and the schools and all that, but really and truly, big companies that are probably making big, big money today, they're going to get the lion's share of the money. Because the car tax is the only thing you were going to get. That's all you were going to get. And it is a guarantee now that you're going to get that. But it's a guarantee really from my stuff and not their stuff. Now, but just think about this too. If we do the car tax is $130 million, say. If we do the machinery and inventory tax, it's another $500 or $550 million. Now you're up to $600-700 million. If we do the 10% personal income tax, that's another $254 million, and now you're approaching $1 billion. You're going to suck $1 billion of the revenue out of West Virginia tomorrow if you say, well, we'll do it all. Suck $1 billion of revenue out of West Virginia, and if you have any bump in the road, the only thing you're going to be able to do is cut. So in other words, you can't do it all. There's no way you can do it all. It's the dumbest thing in the world to think you can do it all. The problem is it's backwards. We should be helping you first, and we should. And then if we've got you going really, really, really good, then what we should do is look in the future to the machinery and inventory thing when we know we've got growth and we've got really good things going with you. If you do this, you'll put in a stake in the heart forever of getting rid of the personal income tax. The personal income tax is what puts dollars back in your pockets. Now, last thing of my last, almost, is just this, is tomorrow, if you closed your eyes and thought, and you were really honest about it, and then you opened your eyes back up, you would say, what if West Virginia really was on a pathway of getting rid of your personal income tax? Would we have growth beyond belief happening? Well, of course we would. Look what's happening in Tennessee, and Florida, and Texas, and South Dakota, and Wyoming. Pick a spot. And you know what else is going to happen? We're going to get left behind because South Carolina and Mississippi and Georgia are all trying to start their own process to do that too. So in other words, not only would it put money in your pockets tomorrow, and not only would it drive real life growth to us on top of all that, on top of all that, you'd spend the money. We all would spend the money. And then we become our own incentive program without any growth. And then, if we want, at that point in time, if it's all working, we want to reach back and think about the machinery and inventory thing, do it. But we're doing it backwards. And it's risky. We're taking your control away and giving it to Charleston and changing the Constitution, and it's risky. For nothing. For nothing. Now, I'm getting ready to say, you ask anything you want to ask. But before I say that, I'll just say this. If you believe what I'm telling you, and if you don't, then think about this. How can I lose? If this passes, I'm going to dance all the way to the bank. Guarantee it. The state is going to let me out of millions and millions and millions of dollars. Guarantee it. I mean, it's guaranteed. The other thing, if it doesn't pass, I'm absolutely going to stand and say we did the right thing. I went and told the people, and we did the right thing for everybody. And that's what I want to happen. I want you to win. Literally, you deserve to win. The other thing is, in a very short order, I'll be gone. And if it passes, you'll see me somewhere, probably in Walmart somewhere or something. You'll probably see me buying a fishing rod or buying shotgun shells to try to some way, somehow find a grouse or something. And when I see you, I'm going to look right at you and say, I told you so, didn't I? Because absolutely, it will kill you. Because without any question, stuff happens. And when it happens, it ain't going to be good. As soon as we suck all the revenue away, the surpluses will dry up. You don't know this. And I'm not being so bizarre it's off the chart, but you don't know that you go out here tomorrow or tonight, right in 2 minutes, turn on the radio, and you hear that Putin has put off a tactical nuclear weapon in Ukraine. Ask yourselves, just ask yourselves, I mean, is that a possibility? Well, of course it's a possibility. Ask yourselves what happens to the stock market if that happens in 1 minute. The stock market would go to 9,000. Your 401ks are gone. In all honesty, right behind that, and if you don't think that would happen, you're crazy. Now, as soon as that happens, boom, boom, then the rainy day fund of the state, all of our investments it's not making the revenue that it's making, and we got to put money in that, or we're going to have our bonds derated. And as soon as we put money in that, the state's upside down, and they're going to come right to you and say, we can't give you all that money. We don't have it. What happens if we give raises to our state employees? PEIA goes upside down. Medicaid has a problem. For God's sakes, what happens if the federal government says, we'll give you $6 billion, but you got to put up $1 billion over 5 years. We got to put up $200 million to build every road, finish quarter H, do all the different stuff all over the place. What happens if dupe happens? You have a guarantee right now. You can rest at night, you can sleep, everything's good. The counties can run themselves. You know what to do. God knows you know what to do so much better than Charleston. It's unbelievable. You absolutely are in total control, and you're just going to give it away. Give it away. It's really, really why I'm here, but I am only here because I am telling you the most toxic thing that I have ever seen, and the most deception. I mean, really, when it really boils right down to it, they hoodwink you. They got you to believe something. Well, we're going to get rid of our car tax. Yay, 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 yay. But you were voting for something that would be suicidal to yourselves, and you didn't even know it. And to be perfectly honest, In many ways, I didn't know it either. So don't think badly of yourself. I mean, I'm right there with them all the time, and it got by me too. I'm here. Now, last words. If you believe what I'm telling you to be the way it is, then you're the disciples. Now you got to go do something. You got to tell all your in-laws and outlaws and all the folks and everything exactly what's getting ready to happen. And here's what I'm seeing everywhere I go. First, when I first went, which was about 3 weeks ago, people looked at me like I was, what? You know, they just couldn't believe it. They didn't know. Now they know, and they're mad. And what I would say to you is get madder. Get madder and madder and madder and madder, because it's not right. It's just not right. The same scenario is true about Santa Claus. You know, if you just think about it, first you believe in Santa Claus, then you don't, and before you know it, you are Santa Claus. Think about it. In this situation, first the people didn't know, now they know, now they're mad. Now ask me anything you want to ask. And then you can come and see Babydog.
I won't ask, Governor, but I'll make a statement if you don't mind.
Sure.
I'm Bill Wires. I'm the administrator of Hardy County Health Department. I've been in the health department world for 23 years. But I'll tell you guys something that the governor said. And first, Eastern Panhandle is completely separate from the rest of the state. They don't understand us up here. We're booming. Some of the states really struggle. But in the health department world, we are funded by the legislature. And what they did to us about 6 years ago is we had a health officer who convinced the legislature that the health departments could absorb a 25% cut because we were billing for services and we were going to make that money back. Well, what he didn't realize was we'd been billing for years and we're still struggling. So the legislature took $4 million away from us about 5 or 6 years ago. And we have managed to get $1 million back in the last 5, 6 years. We're still trying to get that other 3. What did that do to the health departments? We lost staff. We had trouble hiring employees because of pay, so on and so forth. So once they get control of your money, it's up to them how much, and he's right, we have to get in line every February and beg and beg and beg to get money restored. And we're still hurting. Everybody thinks that we're good because of COVID. Well, the COVID grants come in, but they are designated for specific things that you have to use them for. I can't use them for what I need. I can't get a community health promotion specialist, a mental health person. I can't use that money for that. But we go and we beg every year to try to get our money restored. And we're trying to go into year 6. But the way they fund us, and I'll probably say it's the way they would do the county, is everybody gets a base. Then they go on your population. So, for example, Hardy County might get $100,000 and then we get $8 a person for 14,000 people. Well, you compare that to Huntington, Morgantown, Charleston, that's where the big piles of money are going to be going.
Yes, ma'am.
Governor, I'm Phyllis Helmick with the aging program in Hardy County. The same thing is for aging. We are a low person on the totem pole because of our population. We cannot hire staff because we have to compete with the industries in town. Just a short time ago, before the pandemic, we had plenty of employees. Today, we have 30. That cannot help the people. We provide almost 200 meals a day for the county. We don't have the money to do that. And we never was closed a day during the pandemic. People got their meals, thanks to you.
Well, bless you. Bless you in every way for all
And
you've
we
done.
thank you for what you've done.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Think about just, you know, what this gentleman just said right here. And it's ever so true. You know, and I'm not patting myself on the back. There's so many people pulled the rope and we've all done it. We've all done it. you have been such a inspiration and help like you can't imagine. How in the crap do you think we got through all this pandemic as well as we have? And we're still not there. But how in the world do we do it? We stayed together, you know, and you have been superstars beyond belief. Just think of the running to the fire that y'all did every
You
day.
threw me into the fire. What are you talking about? You called me and said I had to have a chicken plant tested in less than 24 hours.
Well, I mean, you know, sometimes,
We got it done.
sometimes you gotta move. I mean,
We got it
that's all it's doing. But now just think about it. When I walked in, now, you know, and now look, guys, I'm a business guy, and I have run thousands of people in all kinds of business. I'm a business guy, and they hand me these books. This man did, and literally the first thing I could see was I didn't get there till January, and they're halfway through the year because the year ends at the end of June. And he said, we got bad news. We're going to be $217 million short in this year. And you have a constitutional amendment that says you have to have a balanced budget. And I said, well, what happened to that deal? I mean, you know, and they said, well, we just haven't done as well as what we thought, but we don't know what to do. We're going to have to probably just go across the board in every agency and everything and do a cut right now. And I said, well, wow, oh my God. He said, but that's not the bad news. The bad news is you're going to be $497 million short in your first year after that, and then a couple more years after that, another $772 million short. And I said, well, have we got money in the rainy day fund? Well, you can't go there because we've already drained it down to where the bondholders are about to derate our bonds. And I said, well, what is wrong with you people? I mean, my God of living, what in the world have we been doing? You know, and basically, you got exactly what your answer was, or you said just a second ago. The only single thing they knew to do was cut. They couldn't do anything else. All they could do is come up with some hocus pocus something that says that you can save 25% or whatever you're talking about on all your revenues and everything, and we really got to take $4 million away from it.
And then it never gets restored.
No, of course it won't get restored. Of course it won't. Because there's people that are competing with you all the time because they've got a bigger need or a more important need or whatever it may be than you've got. Yeah, of course it's not going to get restored. But the only thing they could come up with was cut. You know, well, today we're cooking. We're cooking. And I've never seen a situation in business in my life where you could cut your way, purely just cut your way out of the mess you're in. I don't care what it is. You know, you can cut waste out, but you've got to do some stuff to make things better too. You know, so the net of the whole thing is, I mean, literally, there is only one reason in the world why we're here, and it's the swamp. It is exactly the reason we're here. Now, we can say what we want all day long, but it's promises to legislatures and it's ambitions of legislatures that go beyond what they should be doing, and that's serving you. That's the only reason we're here, because none of this makes any sense. It does not make any sense at all that you would give up local control to Charleston, which you're exactly right, doesn't even know hardly you exist. And here you are knocking it out of the park and knowing how to run your show and being very successful, and many other areas of the state falling all over themselves, and they won't listen to you, and now they're basically trying to do something that's going to really, 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 really hurt you. I will promise you this, and this is my very last words in this, and we'll answer more questions, but if you do this, there'll be a point in time when you'll be really mad. Really mad. And when I see it, I'll make you madder. Because I'll just look right at you and say, told you. But if you don't really understand it enough right now to be mad, You will be. You will be. You know, I've got a lot of sayings, many times I think, I don't know if he's for real or not, but he sure thinks he is. You know, my dad would say stuff like, son, if you can't get it done in 24 hours a day, you got to work nights. That's probably why I called you.
Amen.
But I got a lot of sayings. But I'm telling you, if you're not mad now, you will be. You really will be. Anybody else? And I'll stay here. But you probably want to come and see little Babydog. She's going to go to sleep.
I'd like to steal a minute of your time before you leave.
You can talk to me while people are talking to Babydog.
That'll work. Thank you, sir.
Please, go get people to go vote and blow this up. You're too good people. You really are the best of the best. That's all there is to it. Keep doing great stuff. I'll never forget Kathy. Kathy said, I hadn't been in that area of the world very often, but boy, it is unbelievably beautiful. And I'm telling you the gospel, I don't blow smoke at anybody. I mean, my God living, I'm the one that turned the English Bulldog's butt to Bette Midler to stay the state. I get myself in trouble by myself.
Me too.
But literally, you got to know what you got here and how good it is. My whole business career just about was surrounded around farming. I've got lots of farming going on, lots of great stuff here. But you got a lot of other great stuff going on. You got growth and diversification. You got so much beauty. It's off the chart. Tourism's going crazy, and that's another thing. I mean, think about how wise the legislature could be. In tourism, before I got there, just straight down. We had the most beautiful state under the blooming sun. I said right off the get-go, any frog that's not proud of his own pond isn't much of a frog. That's all we had to do. But to just put a little money in it, start telling the world about us, and all of a sudden we started going. And then we put money in our state parks, and we started going. And now, my gracious sakes of living, we're on the cover of these national and world publications saying West Virginia is the best destination to go to, and whatever. Can you imagine that? Really and truly? People would have absolutely turned their nose up on us a millionfold, and look what's happening. All we had to do is just show you off. My last, think about this. You're so good, you can't imagine. You're craftsmen, you're low crime, you're faith-based, you're absolutely just the best. You're loving people that know how to appreciate others. You're great neighbors, you're a network of people. Literally, you are the best of the best of the best of the best. And don't forget it. Don't ever forget it. Just keep doing good stuff. But somehow, some way, somehow, you got some strange folks in Charleston land sometimes. That's all there is to it. Strange folks. But they've always got it figured out. And lots of times they don't like me. Well, that's okay. That's okay. Babydog and I will get through it somehow. That's all I got. Thank y'all so much. God bless all of you.